The silent hunter Captain Zara Voss stood on the bridge of the TES Phantom, watching the massive Kronak battle fleet through the viewport. Her ship was invisible to their sensors, hidden by experimental stealth technology that shouldn't exist. According to Galactic science, the Kronaks were legendary warriors, their ships bristling with weapons that could crack planets. They had conquered 17 star systems in the past year alone. "Status report," Zara whispered to her tactical officer, Lieutenant Marcus Reed. 43 heavy cruisers, 12 dreadnoughts, and 1 command vessel, Marcus replied quietly. "They're holding position around the mining colony on Kepler 442b. No signs they've detected us." The Kronaks had made a mistake attacking human settlements. They assumed humans were just another weak species to be enslaved or eliminated. They had studied human military records and concluded that Earth's forces were primitive compared to their advanced weaponry. What they didn't know was that humans had been preparing for this moment for decades. Zara activated her neural link to the ship's AI. The Phantom wasn't just any vessel. It was a living machine, its hull infused with self-repairing nanites, its weapons systems powered by miniaturized fusion cores. It defied known physics. Human engineers had spent years reverse engineering crashed alien technology and improving upon it. "Remember," Zara addressed her crew of 30 specialists, "we're not here to fight fairly. We're here to win." The plan was audacious. While the galaxy's military minds focused on massive fleet battles and overwhelming firepower, humans had developed something different: precision, stealth, and psychological warfare. The Phantom could slip past any defense, strike at the heart of enemy formations, and disappear before retaliation was possible. Navigation Officer Jenny Park confirmed their approach vector. "We're in position, Captain. The command ship's shields are rotating on a predictable pattern. We'll have a 12-second window." Zara nodded. The Kronaks had never encountered anything like the Phantom. Their sensors were designed to detect large masses and energy signatures. They couldn't perceive the ghost ship that moved like a whisper through space, powered by technology that bent the laws of physics. "Weapons hot," announced Chief Gunner Tom Bradley. "Quantum torpedoes loaded and ready." The bridge fell silent, except for the soft hum of the ship's systems. Outside, the Kronak fleet continued its siege, unaware that death had already found them. The aliens had spent centuries perfecting the art of brute force warfare. They had never learned to fear. The shadows. Zara's hand hovered over the attack command. In the next few minutes, the galaxy would learn why humans had survived every threat their hostile planet had thrown at them. Earth didn't produce the strongest warriors or the most advanced ships. It produced something far more dangerous: problem solvers who refused to accept defeat. "Execute," she commanded. Strike. From the void, the quantum torpedoes erupted from the Phantom's hidden launch tubes, their exotic matter warheads invisible to conventional sensors. They moved through space like guided lightning, each one programmed with targeting data that had been gathered through weeks of reconnaissance. The Kronak command ship's shields flickered for precisely 12 seconds, and in that moment, 3 torpedoes found their mark. The explosion tore through the massive vessel's core, but this wasn't just destruction, it was strategic dismantling. The torpedoes had been designed to target specific systems: command and control, communications, and life support. The Kronak admiral aboard the ship had exactly 90 seconds to comprehend what was happening before his bridge lost power. "Direct. Hit on primary target," Marcus reported. "Their command vessel is dead in space." But Zara wasn't finished. The Phantom's AI had already calculated the psychological impact of the attack. Kronak military doctrine relied on centralized command. Without their flagship coordinating movements, the remaining ships would fall into predictable defensive patterns. "Phase 2, Zara ordered. The Phantom vanished again, this time positioning itself behind the largest dreadnought. The Kronax were frantically scanning space, their weapons firing randomly at shadows and sensor ghosts. They had never faced an enemy they couldn't see, couldn't track, couldn't understand. Engineer Lisa Martinez worked furiously at her console. "Captain, I'm detecting massive energy buildup across their fleet. They're preparing to glass the planet." This was exactly what Zara had expected. Kronak battle doctrine dictated that when facing an unknown threat, eliminate all possible hiding places. They would destroy the human colony to deny their invisible enemy any advantage. "Not today," Zara muttered. She activated the Phantom's most experimental weapon, the disruption pulse. Human scientists had discovered that all advanced alien technology relied on quantum field manipulation. The disruption pulse could interfere with these fields, causing cascading failures across entire fleets. The weapon fired, its energy spreading through space like an invisible net. One by one, the Kronak ships began experiencing system failures. Weapons powered down, engines sputtered, and life support systems struggled to maintain function. The aliens found themselves trapped in disabled vessels, floating helplessly in space. Communications officer Nina Walsh intercepted panicked transmissions from the Kronak fleet. "They're requesting immediate evacuation. Their ships are dying around them." The beauty of the human approach wasn't just in the technology, it was in the psychology. The Kronaks were warriors who understood death in battle, but they couldn't comprehend an enemy who could turn their own ships against them. Fear was spreading through their ranks faster than any weapon could. Zara opened a channel to the Kronak survivors. When she spoke, her voice carried the quiet confidence of someone who held absolute power over life and death. "This is Captain Zara Voss of the Terran Defense Force. You attacked human civilians. You assumed we were weak. You were wrong." The galaxy's most feared warriors had been reduced to helpless prey by a single ship they had never seen coming. The Ghost Squadron word of the Phantom's victory spread through hyperspace communications faster than any ship could travel. Within hours, every major power in the galaxy knew that the seemingly primitive humans had somehow neutralized an entire Kronak battle fleet without losing a single vessel. The implications sent shockwaves through established military doctrines. Admiral Keth Zorvin of the Hegemony Council called an emergency session. The ornate chamber filled with representatives from dozens of species, each one trying to understand how the galaxy's balance of power had shifted so dramatically. The humans had been dismissed as a minor frontier species, barely worth monitoring. Now they represented a threat that no one could quantify. "The Kronaks are claiming their ships were attacked by ghosts," reported Intelligence Chief Vex Morton, his scaled hands clicking nervously against his datapad. "Their survivors describe weapons that shouldn't exist and ships that can't be detected." But Captain Zara Voss was already moving to her next target. The Phantom had rendezvoused with two sister ships, the Taze Wraith, commanded by Captain Jake Thompson, and the Taze Spectre, under Captain Maria Santos. Together, they formed Ghost Squadron, humanity's answer to conventional space warfare. The three ships hung in the void near the contested system of Altair Prime, where hegemony forces had established a blockade around human trade routes. Unlike the Kronaks, the hegemony preferred economic warfare to direct violence. They squeezed human colonies by controlling shipping lanes and charging extortionate fees for passage through their territory. "Intelligence confirms 12 patrol ships and a custom station," reported Jake Thompson over the encrypted channel. "Standard hegemony configuration. They're not expecting trouble." Maria Santos studied the tactical display. The beauty of their setup is also its weakness. They're spread thin to cover maximum space. We can pick them off one by one. The Ghost Squadron's approach was methodical. Each ship used different experimental technologies, that made them nearly impossible to detect. The Phantom relied on quantum phase shifting, the Wraith used gravitational field manipulation, and the Spectre employed exotic matter cloaking. Together, they could appear and disappear at will, striking from impossible angles. The first hegemony patrol ship simply vanished. One moment it was broadcasting routine status reports. The next it was gone. No explosion, no distress signal, no debris field. The ship and its crew of 40 had been transported into a parallel dimension, a technology that human scientists had developed by studying naturally occurring spatial anomalies near Earth. The second ship suffered a different fate. The Wraith's gravitational weapons created a localized black hole that lasted for exactly 0.3 seconds, long enough to crush the vessel into a sphere of compressed metal before the anomaly collapsed. By the time the hegemony forces realized they were under attack, half their patrol fleet had been eliminated. The remaining ships clustered around the customs station, their commanders frantically trying to establish what they were fighting. Captain Santos opened a communication channel to the hegemony station commander. "This is the Terran Defense Force. Your blockade of human shipping ends now. Withdraw your forces or share the fate of your patrol ships." The station commander, a proud Veltar named Quinn Sethrak, had built his career on intimidating lesser species. But he had never faced an enemy he couldn't see, couldn't predict, and couldn't comprehend. The humans weren't playing by any known rules of warfare. The Revelation Protocol, the hegemony's response, was predictable but catastrophic for their forces. Commander Quinn Sethrak refused to withdraw, instead calling for reinforcements from the nearest battle group. Within 6 hours, 47 additional ships had arrived at Altair Prime, including 2 heavy battle cruisers equipped with planet-cracking weapons. Their positioning for orbital bombardment of the human colonies, reported Lieutenant Marcus Reed from the Phantom Sensor Station. "If they can't find us, they'll eliminate anything we might be protecting." This was the moment Zara had been preparing for. The Ghost Squadron could remain hidden indefinitely, but protecting human civilians required a different approach. It was time to reveal why Earth's Defense Force had developed such seemingly impossible technology. Initiate Revelation Protocol. Zara commanded across all 3 ships. What happened next redefined galactic understanding of human capabilities. The 3 ships didn't just become visible, they became magnificent. The Phantom's hull transformed, revealing crystalline structures that pulsed with contained energy. The Wraith expanded, its form shifting into something that resembled a living creature more than a machine. The Spectre split into 7 smaller vessels, each one perfectly synchronized with the others. The truth was staggering. Humans hadn't just reverse-engineered alien technology. They had integrated it with something uniquely terrestrial. Evolutionary adaptation. Earth's harsh environment had produced a species capable of rapid mutation and technological absorption. Human ships weren't built, they were grown, using biological processes that merged organic neural networks with quantum mechanics. Captain Jake Thompson's voice carried a note of grim satisfaction. The hegemony wanted to see what they were fighting. Now they know. The transformed ships moved with fluid precision that defied physics. The Phantom phase shifted through solid matter, appearing inside the hegemony battlecruiser's shields to deliver devastating attacks from within. The Wraith's living hull began consuming enemy vessels, breaking them down at the molecular level and incorporating their materials. The Spectre's 7 components worked as a single organism, each piece complementing the others in perfect harmony. Within minutes, the reinforcement fleet was not destroyed but absorbed. The human ships had demonstrated something that terrified every observer. They could adapt to any technology, overcome any defense, and grow stronger with each encounter. Commander Sethrak's final transmission was barely coherent. "What are you? What have you become?" Zara's response echoed across every communication channel in the system. We are what happens when a death world produces spacefaring intelligence. We are humanity. And you should have left us alone. The remaining hegemony. Forces retreated immediately, but the damage to galactic stability was already done. Every major power now understood that humanity represented something unprecedented. A species that could evolve faster than technology could advance, adapting to any threat and turning it into an advantage. The galaxy's fastest killers had never seen anything like humanity coming, because humanity was unlike anything that had ever existed among the stars. The new galactic order 6 months after the incidents at Kepler 442b and Altair Prime, the Galactic Council convened for the first time in 50 years. The massive station at the galaxy's center had been built to facilitate diplomacy between species. But today, it resembled a war council more than a peaceful assembly. Every major power had sent their highest-ranking officials, and all of them were focused on a single question: what to do about humanity. The humans had been invited, of course. Captain Zara Voss sat at the circular table, representing Earth alongside Director Nathan Cross of Terran Intelligence and Dr. Rachel Kim, humanity's leading xenobiologist. They were vastly outnumbered, but nobody in the chamber was comfortable with those odds anymore. The Kronok Empire has withdrawn from 17 systems, announced Chancellor Vrix of the hegemony, his multiple eyes focused unblinkingly on the Yasim human delegation. The Veltar Confederation has suspended all military operations in sectors adjacent to human space. Even the Synthetic Collective has requested a non-aggression pact. The synthetic representative, designated Unit Prime, projected statistical data above the table. Human technological adaptation rate exceeds all established parameters. Their military capabilities demonstrate exponential growth curves that are mathematically impossible according to our models. But Dr. Kim had a different perspective to offer. You're all missing the point. This isn't about our technology. It's about what Earth taught us. She stood, activating a holographic display that showed Earth's evolutionary history. Our planet tried to kill us for millions of years. Ice ages, volcanic eruptions, asteroid impacts, predators that could tear through stone, diseases that could wipe out entire continents. We survived by becoming adaptable. The display shifted to show human space exploration. When we reached the stars, we found the same lesson applied. The galaxy is trying to kill us just like Earth did. So we do what we've always done. We adapt, we overcome, and we become stronger. Admiral Keth Zorvin leaned forward. Are you claiming this is all natural evolution? Zara smiled. In a way, yes. But evolution guided by intelligence and determination. We don't just survive threats, we learn from them. Every species that attacks us teaches us something new about warfare, technology, and survival. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity wasn't just another spacefaring species. They were the end result of 4 billion years of evolutionary pressure, refined by intelligence and unleashed upon a galaxy that had grown comfortable with predictable conflicts. Director Cross activated his own display, showing the current state of human space. We're not expansionists. We're not conquerors. We're explorers and defenders. But we're also survivors who refuse to be victims. The final presentation showed footage from recent encounters. Human ships working alongside former enemies to repel extragalactic invaders. Human medics treating wounded aliens with the same dedication they showed their own species. Human engineers sharing technologies that could benefit everyone. The choice is yours, Zara concluded. You can treat us as enemies and force us to continue adapting to threats. Or you can work with us as allies and discover what we can accomplish together. The vote was unanimous. The Terran Federation was granted full membership in the Galactic Council with permanent representation and veto power over military actions in human space. It wasn't surrender. It was recognition of a new reality. The fastest killers in the galaxy had finally met their match in a species that refused to stay dead, refused to stay weak, and refused to stop growing stronger. Humanity had arrived among the stars not as conquerors, but as the ultimate survivors in a universe that demanded nothing less than perfection. The galaxy would never be the same.